and welcome to More Than Clothes with me, your host, Sarah Ryan. In this podcast, we'll explore the connection between style, identity, confidence, and mindset, and why getting dressed is never just about clothes. In today's episode, I want to talk about some of the biggest mistakes I see people make when it comes to finding out their style or improving their style. Lots of people get in touch with me for colour analysis because they've seen me do it on YouTube. Or it could be body shape as well, understanding the cuts of clothing and things like that. And I'll be the first to admit that is absolutely going to help you determine your aesthetic. Absolutely. Is it going to give you all the answers? No, it is not. And it's one of the reasons I stopped doing these kind of single service for my clients, because it's not actually solving the problems at play. The problems are often far deeper than just knowing what colour suits you or what suits your body shape. It's worrying about what people might say. What if I get it wrong? What if people think I've got notions about myself, or I'm rejected, or I stand out, or all of these concerns don't get addressed when we are talking about what colour suits you or what suits your body shape. Now, I completely understand why people are drawn to colour analysis and body shape, because, excuse the pun, it's black and white. Wear this, don't wear that. Brilliant. Just give me the rules. I can follow the rules. It requires very little thinking. But like I said, these aren't actually going to solve your style issues. If you are that person who's afraid of changing things up, you're afraid of what people might think, you're afraid of looking like, and I hate this phrase, mutton dressed as lamb. Those are the concerns that are going to prevent you, even if you know your colours, even if you know what suits your body shape, those are the things that are going to hold you back from developing your personal style. If they are not addressed, the other parts are fairly useless, I have to say. If you're not confident in the other areas, there's no point in putting a sticking plaster on top of something. That is not going to fix what's going on in the mind. And that's why the mindset stuff that I do with my clients is so, so important to me, because if we don't get that right, there's no point in talking about what colours suit you and what suits your body shape. There really isn't. And I know that talking about these things, it's being vulnerable. And I know it's scary to be vulnerable. But that is why I build relationships with my clients. I don't want to work with them just once off, because there's very little trust there. There's very little value, to be honest, on a once off basis. I mean, I could tell you stories. I had a client there who called me up and they just said, I just need someone to go shopping with me. That's what I want. And when we got talking about it, they had said that a few years ago they did a personal shopping trip with somebody else. And on the day, they bought all the stuff that they were told to buy, and realised afterwards, once the receipts were thrown out and all of this, but the labels were still on the items, that those things did not work for her. This stylist, or whatever she wanted to call herself, put her in what the stylist wanted to put in without much understanding of who this person was. She was put in these floral, very romantic, very uber feminine styles. And when I got working with my client, I said, I'm not going to go shopping with you until I know who you are and you're sure of who you are. So I got to know my clients through the consultations, and it turned out that there was no way I was going to put this woman in florals and girly things, and that just wasn't her. She was drawn to harder lines and edgier vibes, and that suited her more. So these, what I would call quick fixes, the one-offs, they are sticking plasters They will cover up a couple of cracks, but believe me, it will peel away and you'll be left with the same questions. You'll probably have spent a lot of money in the process and spent a lot of time. I should say wasted a lot of time, wasted a lot of money trying to figure things out with quick fixes. You will come back around and think, the colours cannot fix this. Knowing what suits your body shape cannot fix this. They are pieces of a puzzle. You've heard me say this before, I think, if not on my podcast, certainly on my YouTube channel. I describe colour analysis or even body shape analysis as an ingredient to a meal. You cannot go into a supermarket, expect to buy a bulb of garlic and create a delicious, nutritious meal from that bulb of garlic. It will contribute to the meal, but it's not a complete meal. Having expectations that something like this, like colour analysis, will solve your style problems, it won't. Tackling your limiting beliefs, what's going on in the mind, your fears, those are the things that will give you freedom. Then you can think about colours and what suits your body shape. Sure, that is part of it. But you cannot expect to get things right and to feel truly confident if you haven't dealt with the other things. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see when people get in touch with me. They want to know their colours and, I'll ask them why. They go, well, I want to have better style, I want to be able to buy things well. It's not the answer. It is not the answer. The other thing that I often hear from clients or potential clients that I'm working with, I ask them, okay, so what are you looking to achieve if we end up working together? And they'll say, well, I don't want to look old. They might be, 50 is not old, but they say, I don't want to look like a 50-year-old. I don't want to look frumpy. I don't want to look out of date. And this is not useful information. This is not the way to be thinking about your style. If you bought a plane ticket and you told the person, I know this is kind of going back old fashioned, we all do our things online now, but if you told your booking agent, if there was a booking agent, they said, where do you want to go? And you say, well, I don't want to go to Paris. Can you think of all the infinite destinations that you could end up in? Okay, no problem. We'll send you to Timbuktu. Is that where you want to go? Oh, no, actually, I don't want. I was planning on staying in Europe. Do you see where talking about what you don't want is not exactly useful information? You have to be able to articulate what it is you do want. I've often used the analogy of the taxi as well. If you get into a taxi and the driver says, where would you like to go? And you said, I don't know. I don't know. And the taxi driver says, okay, super. Drives you all around town, takes as long as they want. The fare is, jumping up hundreds of euro, hundreds of dollars. And you will be dropped off somewhere. Most likely, it's not where you want to be. In the meantime, you've wasted your money, you've wasted your time, and you are still not at a destination you actually wanted to be in because you could not tell them where you wanted to go. Getting clear on what it is you want is incredibly important. So that is the other thing that I want you to start thinking about. If you have been that person where you're saying, oh, I don't want to focus on my thighs. Guess what? That's where the focus is. You're focusing on your thighs, even though you're saying, I don't want to focus on it. You are bringing the attention there. Saying what you do not want is not the same as saying what you want. You have to be clear on that. So catch yourself out. This is the first part of changing the wiring in your brain. Catch yourself saying things like this. Oh, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to look. I don't want, don't. But what do you want? Catch yourself saying that and try to turn it around and face in a direction that you want to go in. And I know that's maybe not an easy thing to start off with. And that's what I help my clients with. I help them get clear on what it is they want. Sometimes it's not very obvious. That's okay. But we work through that together and we figure it out. Then we figure, we have a plan and we'll get you there. But absolutely getting clarity on what it is you want is incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough. Now, some people do say to me, I want to be more confident. I want better style. Is that a good goal to have? Not really. It's certainly better than saying, what you don't want. You are now facing in the right direction. Great. But it's off in the distance somewhere. It's kind of vague, isn't it? I want to be more confident. Okay. What does confidence mean to you? How does that look? How is that person acting? How is the confident you acting? Are they holding themselves differently? What's stopping you from being confident right now? How would it feel to be confident? What kind of language would you use? How would you speak if you were confident? So now we're getting a little bit more focused on what it is that this, more confident you might be like. The same with better style. What does better style mean? Does it mean following trends to you? Does it mean developing your own signature style? Usually when we're talking about goals and objectives, you've probably heard about SMART goals. And in SMART goals, you usually have a time frame that it is bound by a certain date. So I want this by September, the end of September. When it comes to things like building your confidence, developing your personal style, it's important to recognize that there is actually no destination to this, that it's something that is more of a habit goal than it is, a point where you reach this place and you go, aha, I have it all figured out. As long as you are alive, you are evolving as a person, therefore your style is evolving as a person. So it's not a case that you're going to have it all figured out in 8 weeks of working with me. You will learn a lot. You'll learn tools for life. And that's what I do for my clients. It's about learning tools for life because you are going to need them. In 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, you are going to be able to evolve in a way that feels authentic to you because of these tools. It's not like, having a weight loss goal where you say, okay, I want to lose 2 kilos or 5 kilos or whatever it is you want to lose by, in 2 months. I don't know what's realistic there. But anyway, I'm just drawing this out of my head. That is very specific. It's very time bound. Style is more of an abstract concept. It's based around identity and it's something that needs consistent work. So what we're doing here is formulating a direction more than something that is very kind of, we know exactly when we've achieved it. It takes practice. As I said before, it's like learning a language. It's ongoing. You need to implement it daily. You need to challenge your mindset regularly. And this is a lifelong process. The other things to think about when, if you are thinking about, let's say, getting in touch with me, you've got to ask yourself a few other questions. Is it the right time to be doing this work? When I work with somebody, it does require time, not a huge amount, but it does require you to do a bit of homework, to implement some changes. And if you are somebody who is time poor, this may not be a priority to you. It might be something nice and you might be wanting that. Oh yeah, let's do the colours. That'd be great. Then all my problems will be solved. Again, you could go down that route, but it's really not going to give you a whole lot of value. It does require a bit of a time commitment, but honestly, it's no greater time commitment than, you think about it, you're getting dressed every day. I might just ask you to, we do some photo taking in terms of daily outfits or something like that. And We go through them together and learn from them. You're getting dressed anyway. I'm just asking you to take a photo. It doesn't take longer than a second to look in the mirror and snap a photo. You do have to have a little bit of time. If you are time poor at the moment, if you're caring for other people and you really don't have the time, then this may just not be a priority for you right now. You have to decide that. You have to decide that if you are at that point where you're just fed up feeling crap and you want to feel better about yourself, then you need to make the time. The other mistake I often see people make is that they are looking backwards when they need to be looking forwards. So they talk about what they used to wear. And there might be clues there. But consider the time that you were actually, talking about. If it was kind of pre-kids or, living in a very different environment. For example, 10 years ago, I was living in Dubai. My clothes that I was wearing there, very different to what I'm wearing these days in Ireland. So when you're thinking about your style, stop looking backwards to the person that you were. You have changed. Your lifestyle may have changed. How you live and what you do has changed. You have to start looking forward for developing your style and ask yourself, who am I becoming? Not necessarily what do I want to look like. That's jumping ahead again. That's jumping into colours. That's jumping into shapes. Who are you becoming? Who do you want to be in this next chapter of your life? Then, once you're clear on that, you can say to yourself, okay, what does that look like? But you need to be clear on the person you're becoming, not the person who you were. Turn around, start looking forward and decide. It's not about, this is often a thing as well, it's about, okay, let me go find myself. Sometimes it's deciding who you want to be and not just saying, oh, let me find myself. Because time can pass by. As you know from my introduction, I drifted an awful lot. I learned about myself along the way, yes. But if I had been more intentional and actually tuned into the person I was and what I wanted rather than being dictated to by society, I would have got there a lot quicker. So tune into yourself. Who do you want to be going forward? When you are clear on that, then you get into, okay, let's put the icing on the cake. Colours, body shape, etc. That's actually the clothes. But you need the foundation of knowing who you are first. So if you're jumping ahead, that is a mistake because you're still going to be left wondering why clothes are not working for you. They don't feel right for you. They feel like somebody else's clothes. Speaking of which, be careful of whose style that you're following or emulating. Most of us here will be following people who are in, the style industry, probably influencers, maybe stylists, and you're trying to copy what they are doing. That's a big mistake for so many reasons. They can be inspirational, sure, maybe educational, but please don't try to copy their style. They are a different person. Their identity is different. Their lifestyle is different. Their colours are different. Their body shape is different. Therefore, if you are going out and saying, oh yeah, I saw this on such and such a person, it looked fantastic, let me go find that, I'm going to buy it, and then you're left wondering why it doesn't work for you and you blame yourself. It's because that style was never meant for you. So yes, find inspiration. Yes, educate yourself in terms of fits of clothing and lines and silhouettes and all of that kind of stuff. Great, you can learn from that, but be careful of copying. Another big mistake that I see people making all the time is that they think they can shop their way to answers. This is probably the most common thing that I see people trying to do, and they might do this for years before actually getting some kind of help with it. And it's not surprising, but it can lead to an awful lot of dissatisfaction. So If you are the person, let's say, okay, the confidence is low, you don't know what works for you. So the solution that you have is to go out and shop and try again. By the way, this is not very useful action. This is guessing, and that will only damage your confidence more, because inevitably you are simply reacting to what is in the store, which can lead to impulse buys. Those impulse buys come home with you. You're all excited, because we get that dopamine hit by hitting the credit card and taking home the bag, but that's short-lived, and we realize that item is still in the wardrobe. Maybe the tags are still on it, and we are back to square one. Or maybe we're even worse off because we're down money and our confidence is down as well. Getting yourself out of this cycle of low confidence. Okay, let's go shopping to fix it. Buy something, dopamine hit. Actually, it doesn't work. Confidence takes a hit. We're now down money. The wardrobe is filling up all the time. And by the way, I think a big reason for this is the evolution of fast fashion, the really cheap clothing. Because not only have people been able to buy things at a very, low cost to them, but low cost means low risk. It means you do not have to overthink what you're buying. So you go, okay, you know what? It's only $10. Okay, if it doesn't work, so what? But that is incredibly damaging, because you're not giving the time and effort and consideration to your personal style that is needed if you are looking to get yourself out of a style rut, or to build your confidence, or to just feel good about yourself. You're not going to find it in buying crap. And okay, that doesn't work. Let's go buy more crap. What I have found through working with clients is their habits change, their shopping habits change. They don't shop so much. People think, oh, great, I know what suits me now, I'm going to buy everything. In fact, it's not like that at all. Your shopping habits really slow down, because most of the things in the store out there are not for you. And that's okay. You can keep an eye on what's out there and be ready for when it ticks all the boxes. Yes, this represents the person I'm becoming. Yes, the colours work for me. Yes, it suits my body shape. Yes, I imagine myself wearing this in 10 years' time. If you're ticking all the boxes, brilliant. But that doesn't happen often, nor should it. If we are being particular and discerning about what we buy, we should not be buying that often. We should be buying well, which means probably infrequently, and we should have those items for a long time. You are not going to shop your way to answers. Like I said before, when I work with somebody, we hit pause on buying, because we need to change habits as well. If you are going to get to a place where you have more confidence, where you're happy with your style, you need to stop those habits. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of questions to think on following this podcast. So first of all, are you making some of those mistakes? If so, you know what to do now, okay? So question number 1, if you find yourself asking, what should I wear? Change this question to, does this reflect who I want to be? Or how do I want to feel today? Let that dictate the clothes that you put on your body. That shift can change everything. So not what should I wear to this party, not what should I wear to work or to meet this guy for a coffee, I don't know. No, how do I want to feel? That will change things for you. The other thing I want you to consider is, when it comes to your style, are you making decisions based on what you don't want or what you do want? That will also change things for you in a big way. You may need some help getting clear on that, but at least start thinking about what you do want and stop thinking about what you don't want. And finally, if you're to choose a clear direction for your style, What would that look and feel like? And you don't have to come up with these answers straight away. They need to be thought on. But it's worth thinking on, and you will not find the answers by shopping. Hit pause on shopping and instead give your time to some of these questions. So in short, the biggest mistakes I've seen is that people think the answers will be found outside of themselves, in the shops, from influencers, from somebody else. The answers will come from within and you need to tune into it. That can take some time, or if you're working with somebody like me who knows how to uncover these things, it can happen a lot quicker. If this resonated with you today, I'd love to know about it. Please make sure to review the podcast and follow along if you haven't already. If you're interested in working with me, you'll find me on my website, sarahryanofficial.com. If you want to work with me one-to-one, do book a clarity call. You can also check out my online courses as well. If you'd prefer to work that way, that's also a possibility. If you do want to work with me one-to-one, then do book a clarity call and we can figure out if it's the right move for you and me. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you being here as always, and take care and have a good day.